What is up everyone, Coach Leo here. The topic of this video, as you have read from the title, is how I would climb to Masters playing jungle if I had to start over, kind of knowing what I know now. Now, I've been playing League of Legends for more than half of my existence, starting when I was 13 and being 27 now. So I was able to make a professional career out of it for 7 years, competing at major events around the world. And on top of that, and more importantly, I've coached thousands of players, which has given me real insight into what a majority of players struggle with. So this video is essentially me sharing with you guys all of that juicy knowledge and experience for what actually matters to climb. And honestly, this video is for jungle, but it applies to every single role and maybe even some other games, to be honest with you. Now, there will be a part 2 of this video, which will be in the form of an unranked to masters, where I'm going to apply exactly what we talk about in this video, showing you guys what it looks like at each specific rank. There will be some links in the description if you are interested in working with me, so be sure to check them out. And without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, so it's gonna be a pretty chill video. Grab a coffee, grab your favorite beverage. It's gonna be minimal editing. So the first things first, okay guys, my approach. What champions would I play? What advice would I give myself, starting again? And simply I would just tell myself, pick 2 champions to main. And the goal will be to play them firstly from unranked until platinum. So this is kind of like my plan. Again, if I was to tell myself, hey, what should I do? So I'm going to pick 2 champions to main from unranked to plat. And of course, champion mastery is something that gets discussed a lot in the League of Legends educational, sphere. And the reason for that is just because it's very important. It's important to not have to think as much as, it's all about the mental bandwidth. So if you don't have to think about your abilities, how much damage you do while you're going to build this game, and just everything that comes with playing a champion in League of Legends, that is going to be very, very beneficial because you're able to use more of your mental bandwidth on other things. So I'm just going to pick 2 champions. Now, how am I going to choose which champions to pick? Okay, so honestly, and this is advice that I give players that I coach, is I honestly just go on LoLalytics. I take a look at what popular, or sorry, not what popular, but what high win rate champions in that MMR. And out of those champions, which look fun to me or which fit my idea or what I just like stylistically, right? So there is a certain level to this, right? Like, you can't pick Soraka jungle and expect to have, results give or take, right? Compared to like picking something like Shyvana, okay, from unranked to platinum. So I would just choose it based on win rates. You don't have to choose the highest, one. You need to just choose one that looks good to you. Okay, anything really above like 51, 52% win rate is fine. Obviously, you're going to have a smoother road if you don't play Graves in bronze and you pick Shyvana in bronze, for example. Okay, it's going to be a smoother ride. Now, like I just said, it's going to be a balance of fun and meta. So we need to enjoy the champ that we're playing. Otherwise, we're going to not improve. We're going to hate our lives, basically. So you need to have fun, but you need to also have the meta, okay? A good balance, okay? You don't need to be, I hate my life, why am I picking Jarvan every single game, which is sometimes what I do when I'm trying to climb to Challenger, which is not good, because if we don't like playing the game, it's very unlikely we're gonna be in a good, mental condition to improve at the game. And now, people have asked me, what about future-proofing? Shouldn't I learn like Graves because he's so OP in Challenger? Of course not, guys, okay? Climbing is the fastest way to improving. So if you're an OTP Shyvana and you climb until, Shyvana's like kind of good. Maybe it's a bad example. Like an OTP Rammus. Okay, Rammus is not insanely good in high elo, but he has like an insane win rate in low elo. If you're an OTP Rammus and you climb to platinum, you versing platinum enemies is going to do way more for your improvement than you playing in bronze with Graves or gold or whatever it may be. Again, nothing against Graves, guys. I'm just using it as an example of a high skill ceiling champion. You're going to be better off not future proofing. So if you hit Emerald with Rammus and you feel like, man, I've hit a wall, then just pick up a new champion, which is going to be our kind of plan. That's why I've said from unranked to platinum. Then we will reassess. Okay, so when can I change my mains? Just like I'm talking about right now. So if you get stuck or you're not having fun anymore, it's completely fine. But you have to be really, really careful. Don't spend 20 games playing Teemo and then spend 20 games playing Warwick. I guess you will have kind of an exploration phase if you think, but try your best to really lock into a champion. There's going to be a honeymoon phase, and then there's going to be a dip where like you're losing, and that's where real champ mastery gets created. I would say really give yourself at least 100 games before you think, you know what, this champion's just, I'm just, you know, you got to make sure you're not wasting your time, okay? And after Platinum, we will reassess the win rates, the meta, what we're having fun with, etc., etc., etc. Again, you don't need to say, all right, Rammus is my ride or die. Sometimes he may be, and sometimes some people get stuck around Emerald or Diamond with Rammus because the champion just doesn't perform as well because he's a little bit straightforward. He's a little bit, you know, people know what he does. All right, so moving on to number 2, just going over some key settings, okay? Just a bit of setup, just a bit of what can we kind of think about, you know, what's going to give us a little bit of an edge. This is not the be-all end-all, okay? I will say whatever's comfortable for you is kind of the most important thing. There are some things, some non-negotiables. I would say this is the first one. This is a non-negotiable, okay? Do not, or I will tell myself, okay, and I'm telling you guys, do not use chat, okay? Chat is, it's always, so there are going to be some cases where people say to me, oh, but like, you know, we're talking to my team and we're making plans, blah, 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 blah. The downside of chat is always going to outweigh the upside, no matter how you see it, okay? So in my opinion, the chat, this is just real advice. The chat is used for pinging summoner spells, timers, right? So timestamps, enable timestamps if you haven't already on your chat. So party chat only. And honestly, the most important thing is that we are not getting distracted. We're not getting distracted by people flaming. Okay, we're going to get to mentality in a second, but just disable your chat. It's easy. Okay. And if you are someone who re-enables your chat, if you're someone who's just very, very on the side of, okay, I'm just going to type anyway, even if I disable my chat, I'm just going to re-enable it, do something about it, right? You just have to come to terms with the fact that it's just a waste of your energy. That's the biggest thing. Chat is a waste of your energy, guys. Just ping sums. Again, I like to have chat on, like not mute all, because I want to see flashes because it's information. Okay, number 2, or second thing, smart castle abilities. Again, every single setting I talk about comes with a grain of salt. It comes with a whatever works for you. Okay, there are challenger players that play with quick cast. There are challenger players that play lock screen, which we'll talk about in a second. But just in my view, in my opinion, we're kind of starting the game with smart cast because I want to get comfortable with what is the best. Now, that's it, right? I just want to get comfortable because I'm climbing to masters, right? And, you know, we're not trying to future-proof our settings necessarily, but there are so many players that just get really used to settings and they can't switch, which is, you know, talking about the next one, which is lock screen, okay? I would recommend unlock camera. The game of League of Legends is so much about awareness. It's so much about what can you see and what information can you play off that once again, it's just about it is just about getting comfortable with what is, you know, the better thing. Now, again, there's going to be challenger players that toggle their camera, they unlock their camera, but essentially you need to have good awareness. And this is something that I would tell myself, hey, just get used to playing unlock camera, get used to playing smartcast. Okay, F keys, question mark. Okay, big discussion. So F keys are good, right? Do you need F keys? You don't need F keys. Would I recommend, you know, rebinding F keys? So for me, just again, speaking from experience, I rebound my F keys to Z, X, and C. Okay, Z for top, X for mid, C for support. I don't have AD carry bind. We don't care about AD carry. And this is just so I can see 3 lanes quickly. Okay, sometimes I use F keys, even when I watch my VOD. Sometimes I use F keys more. Sometimes I click. I do a bit of both. Whatever's comfortable for you. If you are comfortable clicking minimap and seeing information and seeing what's happening on the map, that's fine. If you're comfortable with using F keys. Now, if you're using F keys to use F keys, and when I say that, when I coach players, sometimes they're just spamming F keys, you know, kind of LS style, you know, we're trying to be faker. We're trying to see like 3 different lanes. You got to make sure that you're not just doing the fundamental. The reason why we have F keys is so we can, you know, kind of gather the information and actually, you know, digest it, I guess you could say. Okay. So next thing, just a little side thing. Okay. Optimize your setup. I've coached a lot. And something that's very, very a consistent thing is that when I watch lower elo players, sometimes we're on a super, super wide 32-inch or a TV or I don't even know what, and we have a huge monitor, okay? So that's going to affect you because if my monitor's like this and I have to like turn my head to look at the minimap, that is going to affect you. Okay, so you need to optimize your setup. I'm not going to give any like, hey, you must use this for optimal, pro gamer, whatever, okay? But again, you need to think, are these things affecting my awareness? Okay, can I just play on where I only need to glance with my eyes at the minimap? Okay, and another thing that I've noticed as well is like when I watch lower elo players, it's just true. I just see like 40 FPS, 30 FPS, 60. Now, quick little story here. Okay, I used to bring my monitor, my 144 hertz monitor, which back in the day was great, 7 years ago. But I used to drag my monitor around, and did that mean that I was better than the gaming houses that I was moving into? Did that mean that I was better than those players? No, it doesn't. However, did all of those pro gamers now live by, higher refresh rate? Yes, and it's just a nice thing to have. It definitely helps your mechanics because, if a challenger player is playing on 240 hertz and a challenger player is playing on 60 hertz, the challenger player with 240 hertz will have an advantage. Okay, so if you can, all right, some people don't know these kind of things, which I thought is worth mentioning here. Okay, and this can be optimized your setup in any way, right? If you feel like your mouse sensitivity is too fast or too slow or something like that, just optimize. This is mostly to do with your mechanics, okay, your micro. But of course, if you can't see a map, it's a problem. Okay, so lastly, just to finish off this kind of part, whatever feels comfortable to you. Okay, ultimately, it doesn't change as long as you are. It's not going to change how you play as long as you're getting what you need. As long as your FPS in the middle of a team fight isn't hitting 10 and you don't see the ability coming flying at you. As long as you can see the minimap and you're used to it and whatever, as long as it's not hindering your gameplay, whatever feels comfortable to you is the most important thing. And that's how it will always be, unless your lock screen, which may be comfortable to you, is hindering you from seeing what's going on. Okay? There's no challenger player that plays lock screen, or even master player that plays lock screen and doesn't unlock his camera. I'll just tell you that, guys, okay? Because it's just not possible. All right, number 3. We're going to be learning some foundational fundamentals. Now, I'm not going to go over these too in depth. I'm just going to mention what they are and what they do. This is for jungle, of course. So all the other points so far has been for everyone. But for now, in this part, we're talking about jungle. Okay, so yeah, lots of content that I've made on all these examples, which you can go and find because I'm not going to be doing this in depth. This is not a fundamental video. But first thing, game plan and the weak side and strong side. So what this is going to do is give our game structure. It's going to make sure we don't waste time. It's just going to basically give us a game structure. And, the concept of weak side, strong side is not just about, you can have your strong side be, it can change, right? But I think for newer players, this one helps a lot to just say, okay, I'm going to clear from top to bot. And then if I'm on my weak side, I want to spend the least amount of time there. And if I'm on my strong side, I want to spend the most amount of time there because that's what I've deemed the area that is going to be volatile, the area that I want to be in proximity to react and this kind of thing. So very important for starting out, but even in high elos, I see people mess this one up. All right, staying on tempo. So this is where, every time that our Krug or Gromp spawns or whatever first camp there is, it is essentially, again, gives our game structure, okay? It's the same thing. The weak side, we want to go recall for the Gromp. We want to go recall for the Krug. This is something that I'm seeing that a lot of players are evolving, which is great because you want to really optimize your time when you play jungle. Okay, staying on tempo. If you're off tempo, it means that you're not at your camps as they spawn. And which we'll talk about in the next one, which is camps up versus camps down. So this is essentially, again, optimizing your time. This is about making sure that we're not going for a gank bot when all of our topside camps are up, unless we think that play is 100%. So if our camps are alive or spawning to where we can be on time, any play that we do, going for scuttle, going for invade on enemy chickens, going for a mid gank, going for a bot gank, whatever play we do, we need to be thinking that, it's like 90% chance to work, okay? I just use 90%, because we need to just be sure. We need to be thinking this play is, basically guaranteed. And the biggest thing that people mess up, again, especially low elo, but again, also high elo, is that we're just going for, flippy ganks when our camps are up, okay? It's okay to not know if a gank is gankable or not, right? That's how you learn. Okay, so it's fine. You go for a gank, it doesn't work, figure out why it didn't work. And then the point of this is that the foundational fundamentals basically allows us to review it ourselves. Okay, we should have gone to our Krugs here because we're staying on tempo, we're going to clear our weak side, and we're going to, we have camps up, but I went for this bot gank. Okay, why did this bot gank fail? They had flash, they had ward, my bot lane is Soraka, so we have no gank setup. And then we learn that way. It's all good. Move on. Okay. Next thing, tracking enemy jungle. Okay, this is a really big one. This is probably a bigger one for above platinum, but it's still very important. Okay, it allows us to, actually no, sorry. Punishing the enemy jungle in lower elo is very big. Tracking the enemy jungle and pinging your laners, what he's doing, is more high elo, because unfortunately low elo players, although they still will respect some games when you ping them. So this one really allows us to plan and punish. So it's basically the entire early game is essentially being obsessed with the enemy jungle. It's essentially saying, okay, you show here, and that means I can do this. Or you show here and you're low, which means I can take your blue. Or, you know, you go for this gank, and then you went for a mid gank, and then you went for a top gank, and then you went for a mid gank. So now I know that I can go and take all your camps, or I can go and punish you this way or that way or whatever. Okay. So again, not going to go too in depth on these, but these are just the ones that I would learn. These are the most important ones I would learn. Match, trade, minimize. This is a decision-making framework. So all of these things are basically frameworks, okay? League of Legends, I will say, it is not a black or white game. And this is not always applicable in every single scenario. The game is a lot of nuance, but this is giving you a framework so you don't misdiagnose why you lost, or why, you know, you could lose a game and the enemy warwick could gank 100 times and you're like, man, I got to gank more. But you need to come back to these foundational fundamentals. So match, trade, minimize. Essentially what it is you'll always have these three decisions. You'll always be trying to match when you're stronger. So this is also a team-wide thing. So the enemy are doing dragon. We want to always match if we're stronger. We always want to fight, basically. Unless the trade, which we're going to talk about now, is way better. So maybe, you know, maybe the enemy Kha'Zix is taking your Krugs, right? Yeah, again, usually you do want to match 90% of the time. But maybe we could just take his entire top side, so the trade is better. So again, it's not black or white, but you're always going to either match, trade, or minimize. Match when you're stronger, trade when you're weaker, minimize when there's nothing to trade. Again, I'll let you guys research this one more. And the last one, uptime, downtime. This is just the mid-game fundamental, basically solves the mid-game. It's about team-based pressure. It's essentially about being on the map when your team is on the map. It's about using your inting Alawi top if he gets ganked by 3 people to take the Drake, to take the bot tower, to take the enemy Gromp. And then in the downtime, it's all about not chain inting and farming your own camps and not making plays, which is a whole team-wide thing. Okay? So these are the 6 fundamentals that I've come up with that are the most important things to think about, okay? When you are, if I were to tell myself this again, if I knew what I know now. Okay, moving on now to how to improve. Very interesting one. How to improve, okay? So improving has changed a lot, you know, since when I was first improving, okay? But there are some things that have stayed the same and some things that have evolved. So the very first thing, let's talk about educational content, what you're watching right now, okay? The only thing I will be saying about this is beware of overconsumption. So educational content, although people have different, you know, saying the same thing, but in a different way a lot of the time, it's good, okay? But what you need to be aware of is not just consume, and never apply, okay? If you never apply what you watch, you know, you can't become a really good League of Legends player just by watching, okay? You can become better, but you need to actually know what it feels like to apply it. A lot of the game is pattern recognition and experience. A lot of the game is just gate-kept by just being there before, being in that scenario 100 times. Like, yeah, just be careful about overconsumption. When you go to educational content, I would say, think about something that you want to improve on. I want to improve my team fighting. I want to improve my mid game. I want to improve my early game. I want to improve this aspect of my game. Then go and seek out educational content. Okay, so high elo champion specific VODs. This is a big one. This is how I first started getting better at the game. And so you just want to imitate what you see in your own games. So for example, for me to improve at the game, and what I have always done is I'll just look up the best players. Okay, I'll look up the best Xin Zhao. I'll watch his VOD. I'll say, wow, I used to think that EQ and save your W is better. But recently I've just realized, wait a second, this guy just uses EW straight away. And he's not, you know, he's confident to land his W when he E's on them because it's pretty much guaranteed because you're next to them. So little things like this add plays to your playbook is what I like to say. They add plays to your playbook. It's like, it's almost like you are, like I just said, reading the patterns and the experience, but it's just adding to your own, you know, gameplay. And then in that situation, when you play the game and you're like, wow, I applied this and it feels good, or it feels better, or whatever it may be. So Again, the same thing as the educational content. Beware of overconsumption. Okay, if you're just watching it for fun, it's probably better than nothing. But, right, you need to make sure you're applying specific things that you're seeing. Okay, which comes to the next thing, which is learning objectives. Okay, a lot of the time, people are overwhelmed. It's too much. There are too many things. So, for example, the fundamentals that we just went through, focus on them one at a time. Focus on whichever one you think you're the weakest at. It's impossible to think that you're going to conquer everything the game is so complex, by the way. It is impossible to think that you're going to master everything just from watching a video. It is a lot about habits. It is a lot about repetition. It is a lot about pattern recognition. It is a lot about experience. And so you just got to play and focus on one thing at a time. All right, in this game, I'm going to focus on my early game. I'm going to focus on tempo. I'm just going to go tempo, tempo, tempo. I'm not going to care about anything else. I can mess up everything else. If I am good at tempo, that's good enough for me. I don't care about winning. I don't care about losing. I'm just going to focus on, okay, this game I'm going to focus on tracking the enemy jungle. If I know where the enemy jungle is all the time, I consider that a win. So this is what focus on one or a few learning objectives at a time. Very, very important. Okay, fundamentals versus limit testing. So this is an interesting one that goes a little bit with our mentality as well. So there are fundamentals and there is limit testing. So limit testing is a very important thing. Let me just start off by saying that. Okay, you need to make mistakes, you need to try, and you need to fail. A lot of the time, again, when you consume educational content, it's almost like you're trying to replicate this perfect gameplay, which is not realistic. And also, when you watch educational content, a lot of that is happening that is not being said is based on, again, experience. Like for myself, experience, this, that, and the other. So allow yourself to make mistakes, but as long as you're making the mistake and it's not based on, oh, I'm going to lose this game. Oh, my team is inting and I need to do something. Oh, I need to do this, otherwise the game is going to be lost. As long as you're making a play based on your objective idea that it is, or maybe you think, oh, I don't know if I can kill him. Maybe I can. Go for it. Okay, there's no problem with it at all. There's no problem with limit testing as long as it's not limit testing in the form of an emotional decision. Okay? Next one, training drills and training and drills. So this is just about avoiding autopilot. And this one's just a quick one, right? Get into the practice tool, train, your clear, train your awareness, train your combos. Just a small one. Practice using the practice tool. I think it's a great, kind of tool that you can utilize to practice things in a isolated place. Okay. And then resources. Okay. So, have some resources. Think about builds. Again, think about VODs, like high-low champion specific VODs for your champion. Again, this is simple, just resources. For my case, most of my time playing the game, I just copy what's best. Who's the best Kha'Zix right now? Okay, it's this guy. Okay, I'm just gonna copy what he does. That's it. That's what I do. And I see for myself, okay, I like this, I don't like this. This makes sense, this doesn't make sense. I know that when you're first starting out, that this is very hard, but I think, to be honest with you, builds are important, but you're okay with just kind of following whatever, sites or whatever you're following. It's pretty okay. Stuff like Coachless is pretty good as well. All right. And the last thing, maybe the most important thing, mentality and expectations. Very important thing. So, first things first, game frustrations, okay? I can't even remember how many times I've said this in coaching. You cannot win every game, okay? And you shouldn't be trying to win every single game. Having a 55% win rate is very, very good, okay? So you trying to win every single game is actually causing more harm than good. And what you need to focus on instead is accountability, okay? So even if you're just getting 1% better each game, I can guarantee you that this is much better than you. And I'm not saying getting flustered or getting tilted is something that we can avoid, which we'll talk about in a second. But you cannot win every game. And so what your goal is in every single game is to be accountable, is to not blame your teammates. Even if it's just, I could have worked on my learning objective better. I could have had better mechanics here. I could have landed my E here. I could have done this here. No matter what it is, I would say that accountability, this thing right here, is probably, without a doubt, the most important thing of anything we're going to talk about in this entire video, probably. Because without accountability, You simply cannot move forward. And this is what gets most people. Just accountability. Just saying like, okay, how do I improve from this point? And you know, of course, your ego is trying to protect you. That's the psychology of it. Your ego is trying to say, it wasn't your fault. You know, you did good. It's just yourself trying to protect yourself, but you need to break down that layer and be like, okay, I could have played better. And so to talk about tilt, and I never 3-blocked. Okay, I never 3-blocked in my history of playing. I just played. And at the same time, playing is never bad. Okay, we can talk about autopilot a little bit, but playing as much as you can for the fact of experience, for the fact of pattern recognition, which we just talked about, can never be bad. However, something that I'm still learning and something that the game is evolving too. I think 3-blocking is really, really good, especially if you're someone that struggles mentality-wise, mindset-wise, okay? Because what 3-blocking does is instead of thinking about every single game, you think about the block, okay? The block, no matter what happens, you can lose 3, you can win 3, you can win 1, lose 2. It is a great way to structure your playing sessions. It's a great way to be, all right, in this session, I'm going to focus on these fundamentals for these 3 games. I don't care about the win. I don't care about the loss. That's it. And then you can do 3-block in the morning, 3-block in the night. You can do 3-block, break, 3-block. It's okay to do like 6 games in a day. But I will say that if you want to climb, 6-blocking is very, very good. However, again, just playing as much as you can really never be wrong, but sometimes can be wrong for climbing. It can never be wrong as in you just experience, even if you just play ARAM, right? Like if you play ARAM, it still isn't harming you. Could you be using your time better? Yeah, you could be using your time better 3-blocking and incorporating some 3-block, some educational content, some learning objectives. Like if you combine these things, you're going to be unstoppable. All right. So just a little bit about long-term and short-term goals. Okay, the first thing I talk about in coaching sessions is, what's your goal? And everyone always kind of tells me, oh, you know, I want to hit this rank by next month. Okay, so long-term goals is our rank. So you should say in 3 to 6 months, where do I want to see myself? If you think about next month, next week, I want to be this rank, every single game that you play, there's going to be so much weight to it. You're going to make emotional decisions. You're going to think, just one more game till gold, or oh my goodness, now I'm 2 divisions away from my goal, which is plat. Okay, you need to see climbing. It's not going to be this. Okay, it's not just going to be or this. It's not going to be this straight trajectory up. It's going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It's going to be like this. It's never linear. So you got to just accept that. You got to be along for the ride. You got to be an enjoyer of the journey, not the goal. Okay. And so the short-term goals that you should be thinking about is the learning objectives. Okay. This week I'm going to learn on this. This week I'm going to, I'm really going to get good at this. Okay. Ranked anxiety. Okay. Again, you just need to play on what you got to get over that idea of this account will be different. Okay. If you're one of those people, I'm sorry to tell you that, there are some cases where I will say switching an account can be fine, right? Just one time. Okay. If you're someone that does it on repeat and you just keep wanting to own those newbies in ranks that are lower than you and it makes you feel good. Again, it's your ego defending you. And you got to remember that you want to verse better players. You want to embrace versing better people. So if you have rank anxiety or you just like stomping noobs, recognize that for you to improve, we want to embrace versing better people because better people will punish our bad habits. Better players will force us to improve as long as we have the idea of accountability when it happens. When I get invaded, could I have pulled it into the bush? Could I have watered? Could I have had better awareness, right? That's what the main important thing is. And yeah, again, if you combine like this long-term goal, this should also help your ranked anxiety. Just not think, oh no, like I'm losing games or I'm dropping ELO, I'm dropping LP or I'm whatever. Your goal is long-term. So you could start out, like this, but at the end of your journey, you can be up, right? You can start dropping and then it's not a, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Lastly, all right, perseverance. An underrated one, okay? Just a very underrated one. You need to put yourself in the right environment and not give up, okay? So what does this mean? Okay, with the right environment, I'm talking about, okay, a lot of time it's like your friends group. A lot of the time it's, maybe you're just messing around and maybe you're playing normals too much, playing with friends too much. You got to really decide what you want, okay? Because climbing or even when you get to more apex tiers, it's going to be on what you put in, you get out, right? Just like anything in life. So perseverance is something that's really important as well, because if you put yourself in the right environment, you know, little plug, the We Teach League, which I coach in, check it out in the description below. If you put yourself in the right environment with all these other people that really want to improve, and you just ask your question, you're like, yo, what is it? What do I do here? Like, that's going to be such a better environment for you than, you know, maybe Discord sharing with your friends or whatever like that. And the other part is just like not giving up, right? So everyone's rank journey is different, right? Sometimes I've seen players, they just woof and they just instantly climb, and it's like, okay, cool. Not everyone could be like that. Most of the time, again, it's this up and down and up and up and down, and it's not linear at all. And what you really need to do is not give up, because you know, you're kind of just, it's going to be your time, and sometimes people just stop right before. So I will say, like, taking decent breaks is good. Okay, if you feel like, man, I just can't play right now, you know, take a week off, take a month off. Okay, but the most important thing is that you don't give up and you just keep going. You come back next month, refresh your mentality, boom, back at it. All right, so this is where we'll wrap up the video, guys. This is the last thing we wanted to talk about, which is the mentality and expectations. So the next part of this video is going to be when I do unranked masters and I apply all this. So if you were able to learn something from this video, I would really appreciate, you know, a comment down below. If you are not subscribed yet, consider dropping a sub, drop a like if you like this video, and I'll catch you guys all in the unranked to masters stream. Okay, so I'll catch you all then. Peace.